I find that most of my clients who've lost a loved one feel as if grief defines their life. There's now a great absence in their lives where there wasn't one before. For example, when a child dies, grieving parents might feel emotionally vulnerable if other parents or families invite them to get together. They may assume that their place in what was perhaps once a very comfortable social structure is unchanged, but find that after the death of their child, there's been a subtle shift. It's not unusual to feel like a fifth wheel in painful moments that accentuate the loss of a loved one and intensify the heartache of grief. The struggle to fit in is often very uncomfortable because it usually brings up a lot of emotions and reminders. What I find is that when you grieve, it's often a real challenge to appreciate your own unique, God-given qualities. It's important to remember that your life's purpose did not die with the one who's now gone. I find that those I counsel take a major step in adjustment through grief when they gradually begin to see themselves again as worthwhile, standalone individuals. When we adjust, we stretch ourselves mentally and emotionally, not unlike when we go to the gym and stretch our muscles. In order to grow, we must get outside of our comfort zones. In other words, to grow through our grief, we need to adjust. And the surprising thing about adjusting is the realization that we're more resilient than we can imagine. I tell those I counsel who struggle with adjustment, it's their history that lies behind them. Their earthly life together with a loved one is a relationship that was real. It can never be simply discarded or forgotten. A positive approach is to think of the past as part of who you are becoming. The important thing here, especially in grief, is to build on the past. In my professional experience, I've observed that acceptance usually occurs when adjustment becomes the norm. Acceptance is understanding that what happened cannot be changed. In acceptance, you acknowledge that the physical loss of your loved one is permanent. It's the most natural and human thing in the world to question how the death of your loved one can possibly be for the good in your life. Even though you may never understand the why of death, you can believe with certainty that God is at work in the world for the good of those who grieve. In my pastoral counseling practice, people often need spiritual assurance before they're able to accept the death of their loved one. These are some of the ideas that I share. God has not ordained your loss and sorrow. God meets you at your place of brokenness. God uses grief to teach you more of God's faithfulness and steadfast love. God uses that which has changed your life to promote deeper, more profound faith. God has a plan for your life. God leads you to shape a life of meaning and purpose.